So, Stephen, RNC chair saying no complaints in Colorado. We know Donald Trump tweeted out about a march in Colorado tomorrow. So he said big protest march in Colorado Friday afternoon. Don't let the bosses take your vote. So will people show up, and what can they really change?
Well, now we're getting down to it, aren't we? This is great. So let's talk about what's at issue here. What's at issue is the idea of one person, one vote in this country. The idea that a Colorado soldier goes to Iraq, risks her life to secure Iraqi elections. We all remember the purple finger, right? And then the party bosses in Colorado decide, hey, we don't like the way our voters may vote, so we won't let that Colorado soldier and other Coloradans vote here in our state. That's wrong. And that's part of a rigged system. And you have this happening all over.
Stephen, what have you said? Because you've had to talk about this before, the idea that the RNC has said, listen, we put these rules out for every campaign. They've been public, actually, since last year.
Wrong is wrong. But let's get even deeper into this. Let's really drill down for a second here. So you have a situation where the RNC changed its rules actually some time ago to say that delegates in states should represent the will of the people. Now what we have happening here is the opposite. Ted Cruz, who's won only 2 primaries outside his home region, who has no Democratic path to the nomination. He'll never catch up in popular votes and delegates and primaries and anything. He's been mathematically removed from serious contention through any Democratic means. What he's doing now is he's trying to recruit what some people have called double agent delegates. The idea that voters in a district like, say...
But it's legal, Stephen. It may not be high bar, but it's legal.
Well, a lot of the terrible things that happen in Washington are legal, aren't they? A lot of the corruption that Ted Cruz used to complain about in Washington is legal. But let's just stay on this for a second. So what you're doing is you're seeing a campaign that's been eliminated by the voters going into districts and trying to say, well, we want to recruit a double agent delegate, violating the spirit of the rules by saying they're going to vote against what the people in that district decided, because 3 and 4 delegates are chosen through party conventions or by the party itself. Now, here's the big picture, though. We're going to work with the RNC when Mr. Trump is president, and beginning now to reform the process so it's more fair and more representative. So we're not in conflict with the RNC. We're saying let's work with the RNC to have a more fair system that people can trust and believe in. That's the difference between our campaign and the Cruz campaign, because Cruz is celebrating backroom dealing. We're saying give the people the choice.
So do you think at this moment, Stephen, that Donald Trump has to run his campaign, I would say, paying double attention because the system is against him? Is that a fair statement?
I'm saying that the system has been against him from day one. Look at all the special interest dollars flooding into this race, flooding in to support his opponents. So, of course, the odds are, you always had an uphill climb, and we've exceeded expectations every step along the way, and we've broken into a huge delegate lead and a huge popular vote lead. And we're going to keep pressing that lead beginning on Tuesday. And we're going to fight for every last delegate, but we're going to do it fairly, honestly, openly, and we're going to celebrate voter participation. Unlike Ted Cruz, we're not going to celebrate disenfranchisement. We're not going to celebrate canceled elections. We are going to celebrate the wisdom and judgment of the American people who want fair trade deals, who want secure borders, and who want American workers to come first in this country again.
Stephen, should Donald Trump have somehow realized that the game was being played when you talk about spirit of the law versus letter of the law? Should he have understood a few months ago about following the letter of the law?
Well, that line of argument would make more sense if we weren't leading in the delegate count, having overcome insurmountable, or what would have been historically insurmountable, financial obstacles in terms of special interest money. So we've defied expectations before with the best campaign team anyone has assembled, and we will continue to defy expectations, and we will lock up this nomination, beginning with an amazing victory on Tuesday night on the issues, on trade, on immigration, on foreign policy, on a national interest agenda that puts the people of this country first for a change.
All right. And, Stephen, when you talk about trade, there are a lot of people who are saying that Donald Trump wants to wind back the clock by about a century when the world was less connected, and that if American business can get cheaper labor somewhere else, it is what a lot of them will do. How is he going to address that issue?
We are going to move forward, not backward. We've been moving backward for 4 decades on trade policy. New York has lost 3 in 4 manufacturing jobs that existed in 1960. That's called moving backwards. Every time a factory shuts down, every time a mom or a dad can't pay the bills, every time a steel plant closes, that's moving backwards. We're going to move forwards by bringing manufacturing back to America, by enforcing trade rules. Isn't it funny? Ted Cruz talks about the rules, but Ted Cruz doesn't want to enforce trade rules. Ted Cruz doesn't want to enforce immigration rules. So it would be nice if we enforced immigration rules and trade rules. When you talk about enforcing rules in this country, rules that actually help people's lives if we were to enforce them.
All right, Stephen, grateful as always for the time. Thanks for being
Thank you.
here. Stephen Miller with me there, Trump's senior policy advisor.